this course is going to be an introduction to how Amazon FBA works, how you can get started, and just to give you a ton of information about whether or not you think this might be a business model for you, because we've seen so much success from this program. We know it works, the blueprint's there, and this is going to introduce that. It's going to be very exciting, and I really am so excited for you to be here. So what is Amazon FBA? Well, FBA stands for Fulfillment by Amazon FBA, and essentially what it is Amazon does a lot of the work on your behalf. And what I mean by that is, one of the hard parts with growing an e-commerce business is, if you get 2 orders a day, well, what you have to do is you have to process it, right? You'd have to take it down to UPS or FedEx. You'd have to, put it in a box. You'd have to label it. You'd have to pay for shipping. You'd have to ship it out. And that becomes really laborious and tiring and difficult to do once you start getting more than, 1 or 2 orders a day. We've had days where we sold over 1,000 products, in a single day, with my Amazon business. And so it'd be next to impossible to actually handle that scale and not get things confused and be able to ship things out on time. And that is where Amazon comes in, because Amazon allows you to actually, as a third-party seller, right, which actually represents over 50% of Amazon sales, they allow you to take advantage of their fulfillment network and their fulfillment resources, where you can actually buy products in bulk, from China, from a USA manufacturer, from wherever. You might buy 500 units or 1,000 units for $2 each. Ship them into an Amazon FBA warehouse in the USA, right, directly from China, straight to Amazon. You never see or touch any of your products, right? This will all make sense later on. But you can ship it directly from your manufacturer into Amazon. And then Amazon, every time you get a sale from customers that are already browsing Amazon for your product, every time you get a sale, Amazon actually does all of the fulfillment for you. They grab your product, they put it in a box, they put the label on, they ship it out, they handle all of that. And they just literally send you your profit. And so that is why Amazon FBA has been such an amazing process, because it just works, right? And you don't have to do a lot of the work. You can do it from anywhere in the world. And it's just a really amazing way to actually get started making some passive income online. So there are 2 different types of plans, for Amazon FBA. But essentially, Amazon takes a 15% referral fee for you having access to millions and millions of Amazon's customers, right? The last I heard, over 82% of households have an active Amazon Prime membership, which is insane, right? 82% of households in the United States have an Amazon Prime membership. So you can sign up for free as an individual seller, right? You pay a per unit cost every time you sell something, or you can join as what's called a professional seller, where I believe you pay $39.99 a month. And then you don't have any per unit fee. So if you're just getting started, you can sign up as an individual seller. You can always switch it to a professional seller later on once you have some inventory and things like that. So that way you're not paying, any money while you're waiting for your units to actually ship in. You can sign up as an individual and always change it later on. You can sign up just with your own, as a person with your social security number and things like that if you want to, or you can sign up with what's called an LLC, which is a business. We're going to go through the entire Amazon FBA lifecycle. Part 1, where we start, right? The beginning of the whole process is product research. Doing product research, finding a product that has, good revenue, that has between $7,000 and $30,000 a month revenue, generally is a good range. If it's slightly outside that, that's okay, right? But remember, refer back to the 5 steps of product research. Product research is part 1. You want to find something with, relatively high revenues, relatively low amounts of actual reviews, so there's not too much competition. You want to find something that is not trademarked, something that has a relatively high number of monthly searches, and something that you've actually verified is getting sales using the iTrack 999 cart trick method. And remember, you can rewatch all of Module 1. If any of that didn't make sense, as many times as you want. There's never any reason to feel overwhelmed, because I got your back. So after you do product research, the next part is you identify manufacturers, and we go over that in Module 2, how to find the best manufacturers in the world, and then how to get the highest quality with the lowest possible cost. We go over a lot of different strategies to really, leverage multiple manufacturers against each other so that you get the best possible value. Once you identify your manufacturer, you want to get a shipping quote from your freight forwarder, right? And again, in Module 2, we introduce the best freight forwarders, the cheapest freight forwarders in the world. They're going to take care of your products and actually make sure that they get from your manufacturer into an FBA warehouse safely. Then you want to have your packaging and logo created. Again, we go over exactly how to do that in the course. Once you have your packaging and logo created, you want to order a sample of your product from the manufacturer that you end up choosing, right? And you want to make sure that the sample that you order is a completed sample, right? That the manufacturer makes the product itself. They also make the packaging with your logo on it. So it really does look how a final product would look. And a lot of people make this mistake where they order just a sample of the product instead of a final sample. And you want to make sure everything is perfect, that the packaging looks good, that they include your all the things that they should include on the packaging, that the product looks good, that it's high quality. And then once you have that product sent to you, that sample sent to you, then you can do product photography, right? You can either send it to yourself or you can send it to a product photographer. If you want to take those images yourself, you can. I definitely recommend using a professional service, which we talk about later on in the course. Again, every step of this entire process we go through in detail. I just wanted to kind of give you a summary up front so you understand that it's actually not that hard, it's not that overwhelming, and it's very, very feasible to do, which is why so many of our students have had so much success doing this. Then you want to create an optimized product listing. So a product listing is nothing more than what you see on Amazon every single day, right? Nothing crazy at all. So once you actually order your sample, get the product photography and create the optimized listing, what you're going to do is you are going to place an order, right? Once you get the sample, the quality looks good, the packaging looks good, everything looks good, then it's time to actually place an order with your manufacturer. And when you first do that, you pay a 30% down payment. So let's say that, you want to order 1,000 units, the total cost is $1,000, just for math being easy, then you would pay 30% of $1,000, right? The total amount you'd pay is $1,000, but for the down payment, you would only pay $300 or 30% of $1,000. That gets manufacturing started, that gets the whole process started, right? And it's basically you giving a good faith to your manufacturer saying, okay, I'm gonna give you 30%, you make it all, and then once it's done, and once I've inspected it, and once it's all good, then I'll give you the final 70%. So when you place your 30% down payment, you want to make sure that you do that on PayPal. You want to use goods and services, and you want to populate that payment with a credit card. And again, remember, we're going to go through all of this in detail in the later modules. Don't worry at all. We're going to go through everything step by step. I just wanted to give you a holistic look. And then once you get the 30% down payment, they make all the units, and then when the manufacturing is completed, you get an inspection service, right? You can get inspection services for $99, super cheap. A third-party company comes in China, looks at all of the units, make sure that they're all completely good, that the quality is high, that everything looks perfect, and then once that final inspection passes, then you pay the manufacturer the final 70%, and everything is good to go, right? Once you pay that 70%, you tell your freight forwarder, which is the company that handles all the shipping, that everything's good. The freight forwarder picks it up from the manufacturer in China, and they actually ship it over to the prep center in the USA. One thing that's important to understand, which we're going to explain more in Module 2, is what's called FOB. FOB, right, or FOB shipping, basically means freight on board. If your manufacturer themselves are going to ship the products from the floor of the manufacturer once they're completed to the port in China, then the manufacturer is going to charge you a fee to do that, right? Because they're handling that element of the shipping. If you want to just make it super easy, just tell the manufacturer, no, once the products are complete, my freight forwarder will pick them up from the factory and then take them all the way to the FBA warehouse in the United States. If you'd rather get a freight on board quote, which means that the manufacturer is going to ship them from the manufacturer to the port in China, and then your freight forwarder is going to take over, then you would pay the manufacturer a very small fee to handle that small amount of shipping from the factory in China to the port in China, right? But again, to simplify things, once your products are actually completed, then just say, hey, freight forwarder, my products are done, they're at this factory, and they need to go to this warehouse, handle it, right? Shipping is something that I never want to deal with, so that's why I found the best freight forwarders in the world, that's why I share them with you, and that's why they can handle all of this for the best prices in the entire world. So once you inform the freight forwarder of the completed order, the product is sent to the FBA prep center, and then there's things like PPC and product giveaways, but those are good things, right? That means that your product is actually selling. That means that everything is going good. That means you're getting your product from obscurity to page one. Using services like Sonbase, using services like PageOneify, all of which we talk about in the course. And now, congratulations, you are officially an Amazon seller making sales. So, yay! Again, I wanted to make this for you guys to make it super simple. Product research, find a manufacturer, get a quote from the freight forwarder to ship your products from your manufacturer to the USA. You have your packaging, your logo created. You order a sample to make sure everything looks good. Once you have that sample, you have a product photographer take beautiful pictures of it. You create an optimized listing. Once you get your sample, everything's good. Then you place an order with your manufacturer. You pay 30% down payment to get everything started. Once your manufacturer is done manufacturing everything, then you get an inspection to make sure all the units look good. You pay the final 70%. Once everything's done, you've paid, your freight forwarder picks it up from your manufacturer in China, gets it to the FBA warehouse in the United States, and then you are now officially an Amazon seller, ready to start making sales. Let's get into Seller Central, guys. This is where the magic happens. This is where all the money is made with Amazon FBA. And it does look a little bit overwhelming at first, but I promise you guys it's actually not that bad. And we're going to go through all the things that you're going to be able to need, that you're going to want to need most. You don't have to have your Seller Central name the same as the name of your LLC. Right? It can be different, but it is important for it to match. And we'll go into this more later on, is that your Seller Central name, right? The name of your store. And we can actually look really quickly at like an Amazon store, just so you guys kind of see what I'm talking about. So this is what an Amazon store is, right? Let's just type in malls. What you'll see is the name of the actual seller right here is Click and Play, right? And so that does not necessarily mean that their LLC is called Click and Play. It could, but it doesn't mean that. What's important is you want your Amazon Seller Central name, which you set up when you sign up for your account. You want that name to match what you trademark. And so they probably are going to trademark like Click and Play products, right? Like the actual word mark, which again, we'll talk about later on, so don't worry about it. But what this allows you to do is it gives you protection if your Seller Central name matches your trademark. If people are trying to hijack onto your listing, again, which we'll talk about in a little bit, it just makes things easier. When you register for a trademark, it allows you to get brand registered. It allows you a lot of protection against, scummy people who want to do you wrong on Amazon if your Amazon Seller Central name matches your trademark. So don't worry about any of that right now. Remember, we're going to go through the entire course before we actually do or implement anything so we don't make mistakes. But it's just something to keep in mind that you want your Amazon Seller Central name to match what you're going to eventually file a trademark for to protect yourself from people that are trying to do you wrong. So this, guys, is Seller Central. This is actually a live account that I used to have. We had a couple of test products in here. This is going to be the Seller Central account that is actually going to be used throughout the entire course. So we see that we actually have some stuff live here. We're selling a conversion ping pong table set, which actually does incredibly well. We're selling a 24-inch round color spinning prize wheel, and we're selling some Moscow mules and some other stuff that are out of stock. And so this is Seller Central, guys. This is what you're going to see every single time you do log in. And so most of the stuff that we're going to be using, guys, is in the manage inventory right here, right? This is where you add products. This is where you add variations. This is where you do a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about a little bit later on. We don't often use this pricing dashboard because you can actually just set the price in the edit screen, which is how I do it myself and how I teach people to do it. Orders, you don't really use as often. This is more for what's called FBM, right? Fulfilled by merchant. If you're actually like shipping out like handmade towels or something from, wow, my examples are so bad. If you're shipping out like handmade pillows from your house, right, and you're shipping them out one at a time, then you might use managed orders more often, or if you have to deal with like customer service and stuff like that. But this is more so for FBM, which is fulfilled by a merchant. We are all doing FBA, which is the much more scalable option, right? Because if you FBA stands for fulfilled by Amazon, and so what that means is if you sell 1 unit a day or you sell 1,000 units a day, Amazon will fulfill all of those for you. You don't have to go to FedEx or UPS and actually package all of this stuff yourself. And so we're not going to use orders too much. advertising and inventory are definitely the two things that you're going to use most often. We're going to talk extremely in depth about the advertising section later on in the course when we actually go into marketing. We're going to talk about how to sell things via Amazon's internal platform, Amazon PPC. All right, we're going to talk about how to sell your products on Amazon with Instagram. We're going to talk about how to sell your products on Amazon with Facebook ads, the best way. We're going to go super deep into marketing, and we'll tell you everything that you possibly need to know about that. This is just meant to be kind of a introduction to Seller Central, just so it doesn't look as overwhelming, right? And then obviously you have some reports here, which we're going to talk about later on, and then performance if you ever have any issues like with your account or claims or anything like that. And so that, guys, is the overall kind of little tutorial. Really quickly, I want to jump into the edit section because, again, this does look a little bit overwhelming for people when they first start out, but it's actually not that bad, right? So this is where you put your title, very simple. This is where you put your manufacturer, your brand name, things like that. If you have any variations, but variations aren't available for this category, this is where you set your offer. If you want to put a sale price, right? If you want to say, well, it's normally $250, but we're going to have a sale price of $199, right? So Amazon would show a strike through here, and this would be the final price that your customer would pay. Most of this stuff is inapplicable to these type of products. Like if you're selling things with lithium ion batteries and things like that, or if you have applicable dangerous goods regulations, right? But that's obviously not applicable for a ping pong table. This is where you put your images, very self-explanatory, obviously. Your description, right? These are kind of like the bullets that show on an Amazon listing and things like that. And so this is where you put search terms and things. And that's pretty much it, guys. It's very simple. And most of the time that we spend in Seller Central, again, will be in the inventory section and in the advertising section. So that is your overview for Seller Central, guys. This video is going to be about how to actually ship your products from China directly to the manufacturer inside of an Amazon FBA warehouse in the USA. And so how you actually have to do this is a little complicated at first for some people, but if you actually think about it logically, it makes a lot of sense, right? Because what ends up happening eventually is you need to have a barcode to send to your manufacturer to actually create like a little sticker and put it on each box so that your inventory is completely ready to be scanned in by Amazon when it actually arrives. Because you're never actually getting the inventory. Like they don't ship it to you and you ship it to Amazon. Your manufacturer ships it straight to Amazon. And trust me when I tell you, you want it that way. And so in order to actually ship your products from China to the Amazon FBA warehouse directly, you have to have like all of your barcodes and things kind of figured out. And then you basically just send your supplier an email, with the carton labels and with the UPCs to actually put onto the product itself. And so how we're going to do this is we're going to go to add a product, and we're going to create a new product listing right here. And let's just use the example of a coffee mug. We're going to choose coffee mugs right here. And it auto-populates this little thing, this little kind of, template menu thing, vital info, right? Product ID. So there's a couple ways to do this. There's a way to do a GTIN exemption that we're going to talk about just briefly if you don't want to do UPCs, but most people do UPCs, right? So there's been like, arguments and controversy for literally like a year or more about whether or not you're supposed to use what's called GS1, which is Amazon's officially recommended UPC provider, but other people use other things that are significantly cheaper, right? And so if you see GS1 right here, 1 through 10 is $250 plus a $50 annual fee. So for 10 UPCs, and UPCs are just barcodes that every product has, right? Universal product code. So it's like $300 for 10 here, or if you use a different one for 10, it's $37 instead of $300, right? And so, basically the summation of all of this controversy and what everybody's talking about is Amazon tells you when you try to create a product listing like here, I'll use a UPC, and this is just the UPC that I bought from Nationwide Barcodes, right? From the much cheaper version. When I paste it in here, it says the validity of a product ID is checked against the GS1, GEPI, and ISBN databases. If your product ID is not registered with GS1, then the linked ASIN will be suppressed, and it may result in removal of your product creation privileges, right? And so this is basically a warning that says not to do it and that you should use GS1. If you want to err on the side of caution, right, use GS1. I personally still use Nationwide Barcode because I have, a bunch of them that I already bought, and it's literally like 10 times cheaper for Nationwide. And Amazon still allows me to create product listings using Nationwide barcodes, the cheaper barcodes, right? And I think it's very, very unlikely, personally, right, that Amazon is going to go and retroactively mess around with listings that have used Nationwide or any of the other millions of UPC services, because it would just destroy their catalog. But if you want to err on the side of caution, right, then just get GS1 barcodes directly and pay the $300 and for 10 UPCs. And then, in the grand scheme of things, $300 is not that much money for, the ability to list 10 UPCs. Or if you want to save a little bit of money and, live on the wild side like me, then use nationwidebarcode.com. And these are actually purchase barcodes for Amazon. So if we come to the actual site itself, then you'll see barcodes for Amazon right here. And then it says the pricing right here, and you just choose how many you want, and that's it. So it's pretty easy. So the safe way is GS1 for 300. A little bit less safe way, but the way that I personally do is Nationwide barcodes for 37.50. And I'll continue to use Nationwide barcodes until Amazon literally does not allow me to create a product listing without using GS1. If they ever force me to use GS1, then, because at the time of making this video, you can still use and create Nationwide barcodes. We're doing it every single day, but Amazon may eventually, right? And I want to make sure you guys always know what to do. Amazon may eventually force you to use GS1, and then you'll just have to pay the more expensive price. Or, if they force you to use GS1 and you don't want to pay the more expensive price, you can research what's called a GTIN exemption request. We're not going to go into that because most people don't need it. But if they force you to do the GS1, you really can't afford the GS1, then just Google search or YouTube search how to do a GTIN exemption. It's a little bit more complicated, but it's a way that you can avoid paying the GS1 pricing if you really don't want to. Okay, cool. So we're gonna make this. We're just gonna say coffee mug for mom. We're gonna say the brand name is Coffee Mugs, Freezies. The offer, and this isn't that important right now, because all we're doing right now is creating a listing so that we can actually get what's called the FN SKU, right? Because the FN SKU is what we're gonna have to send to our supplier. And once we send that to our supplier, then they're going to be able to print out little stickers that they're going to put on every single one of our coffee mugs. And then once they're sent from the manufacturer to Amazon, Amazon's able to actually scan all of those in. Right, so we're just going to put $19.99 here. We're going to put new. And the fulfillment channel, I want Amazon to ship and provide customer service for my items if they sell, right? This is Amazon FBA. I want to ship this item myself. This is Amazon FBM, right? Fulfilled by merchant. So we're going to save and finish here. Your listing is being created. This process may take up to 30 minutes. Please check back and change your listing fulfilled by Amazon at that time. So we're just going to press continue. All right, and I'm going to pause the video really quick, and then once it's actually up, then I'm going to show you guys the next step. All right, guys, so here's the listing that we looked at. So if we click this one right here, then we can do action on. And what we're going to do is, normally you do print item labels, but sometimes it gives you an error, right? So no items submitted. I wanted to show you guys that because I've just had so many students ask me about that particular error. So what we're going to do to fix that is click this little checkbox and then go to change to fulfilled by Amazon. Even though I know we selected that to start, it's like this weird thing that just happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to convert and send inventory and save and continue. It's just there below. This form has not been completed. Add dangerous good information. Is this product a battery? Just utilize batteries? No. Product regulation information. Is this product considered dangerous? Is there hazardous material? No. It's a copy mug. Submit. And now we're going to save and continue. So now what we're able to do, right, and we're going to actually go back into inventory because I'm going to show you guys how to actually send inventory in a second, because this is how you get what's called your carton label. So two things that you need to send to your manufacturer at the end of the day are your FN SKU, right, which is basically just like a little barcode like you see on any products, right? That's one thing. The second thing that you need to send is called the carton label. So let's say that you have like 100 coffee mugs. Each one of those 100 coffee mugs is in a little cardboard package. It has a little sticker with the UPC on it, right? And then let's say that 100 of those fit inside of one carton. Then you'd also need one carton label. So you'd have 100 little FN SKUs all printed on the box that the coffee mug is inside, right? All 100 all have their own little sticker. And then all of them are inside one carton, and then that carton has a carton label. And we're going to show you how to do both of those right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to print item label. And what we're going to do is go to print item labels right here. And so this is going to download something. And so we're going to send this to our manufacturer. And this is the little barcode right here that allows Amazon to actually scan this. So we're going to save this to our desktop. We're going to call this coffee mug FN SKU. And this is one of the two things that we need to send to our manufacturer. This is what goes on each individual cardboard packaging for every single one of our products. And so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go back to inventory here, and we're going to we're going to click this little box, and we're going to go to send replenish inventory. And this is going to open up the workflow for actually creating carton labels and telling them, what's going on with the shipping plan. So the two different things here, and I want to actually bring this up. Individual products, if your shipment consists of individual items with different SKUs and in different conditions. It's almost never individual products because it would be very strange to put different products in like the same cartons and things like that. Case pack products, if your shipment consists of cases previously packaged by the manufacturer that contain identical items with matching SKUs in the same condition, excuse me. So we're going to click this and we're going to go to continue to shipping plan. And what we're going to do is we are going to actually fill this out. So your supplier is going to be able to tell you how many units are coming, per case. They might say, yeah, well, okay, so 48 units fit per case, and you guys ordered 200 or whatever the case may be, so there's going to be a number of cases, right? So something that I like to do actually, and this is a good little note to take down, is you want to ask up front how many units are going to be in each case, right? Because and the reason that I say that is because if they say 48 units fits per case, but you order 200 units, then there's going to be that awkward 48 times 4, right? So there's going to be like 8 missing units, and then it just gets a little tricky. Instead, order 48. If they say there's 48 per case, right, or per carton, then order 48 times X, like the number of cartons that you want to reach that number that we taught you how to do when you're actually inventory forecasting and choosing how many products that you want to sell to be able to sell, and factor in giveaways for that 90-day or that 3-month period. So let's just assume that they said there's 48 units per case. And let's say that we wanted to buy, 48 times 4, then there would be 192 total units here. Your supplier is going to be able to give you the measurements in inches. I usually just keep it in inches. They usually give it to you in centimeters, but I'll do inches. So let's just guess that it's 12 inches by 4 by 6, or something like that, right? Let's say that it's 0.5 pounds. And again, your manufacturer is going to tell you exactly, what's going on with this. So you can just like literally enter it. So we're going to go save and then continue. And so we are going to prep this, right? Because how I prefer to do things is your manufacturer literally does everything. They package it, they put the UPCs, they put all the codes, everything that you need onto it. and then they just ship it completely finished and ready to kind of be ready to roll to the manufacturer. And so we're going to go to continue. And for this one, all products must have the scannable barcode for non-commingled products, and Amazon product label will need to be affixed to each unit. You can print off and apply the labels from this page, or have Amazon apply the labels for you for a fee. Right, so we're going to go to continue. And it's going to create your shipping plan here, right? And you can call it whatever you want. You could say like coffee mug shipping plan. And then it's going to show you ship to LGBA Rialto, California, right? And so this is going to be the actual address that you're going to ship to. And so we're going to approve the shipment here. And then the kind of the last thing that happens here is it's going to give you the carton labels, right? And all of this stuff you can actually just work out with your freight forwarder. And so I'm going to talk about exactly who we use and who we recommend for freight forwarding. But I would always check with your freight forwarder, because I, to be perfectly honest, hate dealing with shipping, and I'm not a shipping company. But we gave you, or we're going to give you guys and introduce literally the cheapest, best quality shipping company that I've ever seen and that I've ever used and I've ever worked with. We're going to talk about that in a second. So we're just going to leave this how it is. How will this shipment be packed? We'll do multiple boxes. Right, and then how will you provide box content? You can use the web form. So you can basically just write the same thing, 48 units per box. Number of boxes, box weight, right? They'll tell you all of this stuff, box dimensions. You could say 12, 24, 36, something like that. Confirm. So you can calculate the shipping charges here. And then this is basically going to give you your shipping fees. It's that I agree to the terms and conditions. And then you press accept charges, right? And then you can print the box labels here. And the box labels are your carton labels. So I'm not actually going to do this because this is just like an explanatory. This is just an explanatory kind of tutorial. I'm not actually creating the shipping plan. And Amazon would actually charge me if I click this button. But you just press this button, right? And then the last thing you do is print box labels. And the two things that you're sending to your supplier are the box labels or the carton labels or whatever you want to call it. And then also your FN SKU that we downloaded that I showed you exactly how to do. And those are the two things that your supplier needs to be able to, properly label all of your individual products and then properly label the cartons that your products are inside. So that is the shipping plan. That is generating an FNQ from a UPC, right? We talked about GS1. We talked about nationwide barcode. We talked about the GTIN exception if you're really not trying to use GS1 and they are disallowing sometime in the future using nationwide barcode. I know that I provided you value, so what I want you to do is to like this video. I want you to leave a comment on this video. If you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe, turn on notification bells so that you will be the first person to be notified every time we drop a brand new video. If you want to learn more, I do have a completely free course, and there will be a link down underneath this description, guys. Completely for free, 100%. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and let's get to the next.